Welcome back to Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. You know the drill. Please like and subscribe to any of the platforms that you're listening to or any ones that you want to get onto. And also, again, we need a review from you. The reviews are great, but the actual comments are even better. It gives us an opportunity to how to improve and gives us more visibility to be able to be seen on Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. So with that being said, we also appreciate you guys tuning in. I look at the views. We got about 7,000 views a week. I know that's not like big super influencer and this, that, and the third, but it means a lot to me because, it's 7,000 people. I have no clue who's listening. You know what I mean? 7,000 views. I have no clue who is getting something from it. And each day as I walk through the shadow of death and talk to massive people, many people that come up to me, man, it's so cool to find out who's listening to Champ Talk and who's not, who's getting something from it. And, we just appreciate you. So please hit the like and subscribe button. And also, if you know somebody that will get value out of this episode, because we try to bring them as much value as possible, send it to them, share it with them, give them the exposure of Champ Talk as well. But without further ado, I'm super excited about having this guest on right now. We've been real guest heavy here lately because of just the way the schedule's been lining up, and I've been really excited for each guest that's popped up. And this one is a little bit more closer to my heart. It's a good friend of mine. He's been on Champ Talk before, back when we were Champ Talk 1.0. Now we're Champ Talk 2.0.
That's right.
But it is he owns Residential Electric. He has been in the electric business for roughly, I say about 10 years now, pushing 8, 9, 10 years. He's known it for a lot longer than that, but he's really been all in. And the amount of growth that I've watched him have and just us, we've shared back and forth has just been super awesome, man. It's been nothing more than exciting and rewarding to see your friends win, man. So without further ado, John Dize, welcome back to the show, bro.
No, thank you. It's great to be back.
So the last time we talked at the other show, you know what I mean? We, if I recall, and it's been a while because it's probably been like 4 years, if I had to guess. It's been a while.
I would say yes.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
I don't know how long Champ Talk's been going, but it's been going.
Yeah, it's been going.
So you were knee deep in the thick of things.
Right.
Like you were working 16, 17 hour days.
What do we say? Coming in the gym, red face.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. That was me.
Yep. For the millions of listeners out there, not the viewers. John is a ginger, right? He's got the red beard and the red hair. So when he'd come in to train and come to take class, he'd be all red as I don't know what from busting his ass all day and limited sleep. But yeah, in that part of your journey in entrepreneur business, you were working, I mean, literally 7 days a week. I think your light day was 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was balls to the wall, gun ho. And I mean, you were getting it, man. And you had made a couple of really big changes and big moves business wise, but you were still just full on operator, right?
Yep.
And I know that you'll probably never get away from, twisting wires and getting in the thick of things. But for those that are keeping up with it or for those that have never heard it, what changed, man? What shifted for you now compared to back then?
I mean, it's really heavy on me now, like business wise. Like, I mean, obviously the economy and housing is booming. I mainly focus like my business in residential construction, and the amount of builders that I have that I'm contracting for, it's just the amount that they're building is just astronomical in my books. And keeping up obviously and doing what we need to do, the correct things every single day, because the biggest thing I realized about myself probably about a week ago is like, seriously, it's a learning every single day is a learning curve for me. Not so much the money anymore, yes, obviously money makes us happy, but I have to really think, does money make me happy?
Mm-hmm.
You look at rich people out here and money, money can buy things, but money doesn't make me happy. Time makes me happy. So getting that time, I've been working some here lately to keep up with some things. Now I'm getting to a point where I'm getting back into my normal groove of being home on time. But it takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort. And it's not just from me, it's from outside in. I got a really good guy, Devin, that works for me. He takes charge and takes over. And that's what I like. He took a vacation, he came back, and man, he went head steam into it. And he brought us back he gave me some space to breathe, to say, all right, well, I'm good, and it's changed in many different aspects, because I try not to stress over the jobs now, because they all get done. Normally I'm the first one done, but I'm always the one that's stressing the most. Like, man, we got to get done. So
yeah, your sense of urgency has never shifted, in my opinion, because it's like, well, a few things I know you value. I know you value doing top notch work, right? And you're not the cheapest out here, right? And that's because, and we'll all say the same thing. It's because you're getting the top service, top product, top on time, all my deadlines. I under promise and over deliver. I also know that that's a big thing for you, is your reputation and being able to be relied on, and this is why you're working 16-hour, 17-hour days. So I know that all of that's very important to you, and I know those are core values of yours. But your sense of urgency has never shifted, right?
Yeah,
it's never like you're always got to get something done. It's always something. Talking to a business owner that is coming out here trying to get in the game, or trying to get over that hump where they're full on operator, they can't see, they're making money, but the money's not as coming in as they want. You know what I mean? What how do you get them from getting into the space of, getting over that operator and getting more into a businessman mindset, but they're full on in the trenches, building their reputation, building their brand, but maybe they're a little bit farther along than they should be. They should have probably made that switch a little bit sooner. What would you say to that guy?
I would say to him, it's like I was told. It's the same thing from when you're a child till now. You have to crawl before you can walk, and walk before you can run. So you got to take that time. You got to learn. You got to surround yourself with people. Just like us. Like, I surrounded myself with people. In the beginning, it was just me and you, and I take little things from everybody that's around me. I use everybody, as a tool around me, and they can use me as well. The biggest thing with me, like starting out, is being the perfectionist. You cannot own a business and work a business being a perfectionist, because you'll never have anybody that's going to do things your way.
Right.
And it's going to make you mad. And you're going to be like, man, I got to fix this. Unfortunately, you got to let the string, you got to let it go and be like, hey, I got to dial it back and teach them something, try to be the teacher, try to be the mentor, find the people, have the conversation with people. That's the thing. Customers love having conversation with you. Not just you coming in, slapping a number to them, and rolling on. Like, take care of them. I treat every house, everything, every job that I do as if I'm doing it in my home, because that's the way that I would want it done. And it's gained me a lot of traction. Now, advertising, things like that, it takes a lot of work. Everything takes money, obviously, but biggest thing that it takes is time.
Yeah. So putting in that time in and surrounding yourself, you would say, are the biggest two things. Surrounding yourself with people that are going to, rise your ship with the tide. You know what I mean? Are the biggest things. What was it? When was that shift? Like, when was that decision maker? Was it like something happened? Was it like a goal or a quota that you hit? When was the time where you were like, hey, look, I can no longer keep working at this pace and expect that my marriage stay healthy, my sanity stay healthy, my body stay healthy, and this work, right? What was that for you when you said, hey, I'm going to shift a little bit more of the responsibility over to Devin. I'm going to shift a little bit more responsibility, let these guys make mistakes and be more on top of the business side and the, what you would say, coaching side of things. Was there like a special event? Was it like a goal that you hit, or was it just like, was something that just was enough was enough?
Enough was enough.
Yeah.
It's like we had several conversations of letting go. Like, say, hey, look, man, you're getting out and not letting go. Delegation. To say, hey, look, you need to delegate. And I'm not the delegator to say, hey, you go do this and you go do that.
Because it's tough, isn't it?
It's tough. Because
it's tough, man.
If I'm not there, like, looking at it myself, now my job is a little bit different because of my licensing, where I hold a master electrical. Technically, by law, I'm supposed to be on the jobs or, have a journeyman on the jobs. Now it's tough to find these guys and employ these guys because obviously it's easy enough to go out here and just do the stuff on your own, but that's the thing I have to realize is, do I want to grind like this the rest of my life? No, I don't. So I've got to teach, like I got to have somebody up and coming, and that comes from delegation. So if I have nobody below me, then it ends with me.
Right. What, was that a ongoing thing, or was that was that an instantaneous thing? So
it's completely ongoing.
Yeah, yep.
It's still today. It's ongoing. Right? It's ongoing. You get people, you find good people, and it's like the workforce out here is tough.
Yeah, that's a common thing everyone says, is just how how difficult the workforce is, and I mean, and you can't really. I mean, I think the values and the patience you can blame, but you can't blame a lot when they're constantly raising minimum wage.
Right.
They're constantly a kid can go and make money off his phone, or go drive for Uber, or go drive for DoorDash, and make really good money, and it's I think the biggest challenge to get younger people to understand work ethic and what that looks like is you got to really paint a picture of, man, it's not always, you're not always going to be this youthful. It's not always going to be this freedom of being able to go and leave whenever you want for a call or something like that. You got to build some sort of skill. You before you got into electrician, was I right? Was it 8 years?
8 years.
8 years.
Yep.
Okay.
8 years. Yeah. So yeah, it would really be 9 technically, because I left the Maryland State Police in 2017.
Yeah. And you'd gotten yourself in a little bit of trouble, and you ended up going through that and getting yourself through that, and then you returned to the police force, right? Mm-hmm. What was it that and whatever details you don't want to share, that's fine, but you were pretty good. Like, I mean, we've had a conversation about it, and
I was decent.
You were pretty good. You were you enjoyed it. You knew what you were doing. You were you've made a lot of connections, and still that you have some to this day to what you've shared with me. What was it that made you want to shift from law enforcement after that, getting in that situation to go to electricity?
I would say it's the sign of the times, like the times of everything. And I mean, the job it's not all the glam and glory that it's supposed to be. You learn who has your back, and those guys, those girls are behind you for the rest of your life. Yeah. Like, it's just like the military. I see my military friends who are troopers all the time. They're a family no matter what. Those guys and girls are still behind me and still talk to me. Now you have your other people that are, kind of look at you differently and judge you. So it's hard. So with having a DUI and going back to work, and it's like, it's difficult as a police officer because you don't want to be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to give a DUI when I just got a DUI?
Sure.
A year ago. That's a difficult thing. So obviously I'm a realist to say, hey, look, I just can't give a DUI anymore. It's fine. There's other people that work for you and work on your group that you can give them to. So I got transferred over to Berlin. I worked at Berlin for a little while, and it just came to me. I was like, I've got to do something else. I've got to shift. I'm not here anymore. I feel like the black sheep of this family. Like I'm just one thing away or one word away from getting fired.
Yeah.
So now, like you
which could have been very well true, or could have been more insecurity. It could have been a little bit of both.
Right.
It's like at that time you're just so far in your head, right. You don't know.
You worry about them like having basically a target on your back.
Yeah.
Because now, in these times now, you're going to be made an example of.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of talk to you about that because, and just I want to make this very clear. You know what I mean? A lot of people know my background, my history, but I'm pro law enforcement. You know what I mean? I'm pro law enforcement. I'm pro pretty much any hero out there. You know what I mean? Like when we were growing up, firefighters, police officers, soldiers, doctors, these were heroes, right? But man, it's a lot of my friends that are in law enforcement, man, they, and you see it also, on social media or on the news, they will eat their own really quick.
Yes.
They when stuff goes down, it's like, oh, I don't want to get my hands dirty at all and have your back. And this isn't all, police officers. So I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying, like, it does seem like a lot of times, like I've got a couple of friends, man, I got one buddy, man, he's a freaking super trooper, man. He is like all in, his why is like, dude, I'm getting bad guys off the street. I'm getting drugs and bad guys off the streets. And I mean, he's fucking all in. Like, you know what I mean? Chasing them down, like he lives for it, right? Which is his job. But, you have some that, my leg hurts. I can't go run. Then you got this guy who's out running the cars, right? But man, he's had his share of the politics and had his share of the stuff that is like, prevented him from getting some of the what's it called? The promotions that he worked for, he deserves, and things like that. And then, when and I'm always a believer of this. I learned this when I was working for a body shop. You can go behind anybody's work and find mistakes and find flaws, right? So, there's no way that we all don't sin, right? There's no way that we all, like, I mean, technically breaking the law would be jaywalking, right? You know what I mean? So it's like there's so many different layers to what somebody can do. But it seems like when things go down politically wise, as far as internally, they eat their own, man, and that's been a common thing. Was that a big decision maker as well? That made you kind of say,
absolutely. And I'm not, there is, higher ups that welcomed me back, that wanted me. And they didn't want me to go anywhere. Now there's some things like obviously that having a DUI and that comes along with it.
Sure.
Now, one of my friends that is close to me, and he had to deal with it because he is, he at the time was the commander.
Got it.
And he had to deal with it. And that's one of the many people, as far as like my supervisor, my other, troopers that were with me, those guys had to endure that too because of things that I did.
Yeah.
Those things hurt.
Yeah.
They take time. And those guys have not backed down from me, in any way, shape, or form. They don't look at me different. They treat me the same.
Yeah.
But
and I want to highlight that point. So I was talking to another friend of mine, and he's in like a very like country rural area where he's an officer. He's like, man, I've been on a force for 18 years. We were just talking and going back and forth. He's like, and I've never heard not one officer since I've been on here ever drop like some sort of racist term or some sort of racist lingo, or, you know what I mean? Like the stigma of what the media and social media especially makes it want to seem for whatever, engine that's being pumped into that reason why they want everybody to see that stuff, because it's deeper than what you see. And, you just have a lot of good cops out here, man. A lot of good officers out here that are trying to do the right thing, trying to work their butts off. They got into the police work for a reason, and the reason is so much deeper than, just getting bad guys off the streets, you know what I mean? And then, they're painted this picture, this way that it's just like, and again, you're talking to a guy that was from the other side of the street, so the side of the tracks, right? So, I was never I was fuck the police. Like, we ain't fuck with them motherfuckers. Right. I'm a criminal. Yeah. But I was never like anti-police. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And, when I was out there wilding out and doing what I was doing, it was like, okay, I'm the bad guy. They're the good guys. Just don't get caught. Right. It's not, it's not all this what you see nowadays. And I think that, the image and the way that I'm not saying that there's not issues, believe me, because there's issues. There's a lot of things you see that's wrong. But the way that they're painted out to be, man, nowadays is just such a shame, because at the end of the day, man, there's so many good cops out there that are trying, and the hiring rate is suffering.
Yeah, it's going to, yep. And it's not going to improve because you have to then lower your standards.
Yeah.
So, coming in, Maryland State Police was like the highest of the high, and once you got there, like their standards were so tight, like you had to do all this stuff. And, in order to pass backgrounds, drug tests, physical fitness tests, you had so many things to do. And now it's just like you can walk in the door, mm-hmm. and you don't know how credible these people are. what their story really is. They can come in and just go wild.
Yeah.
As a police officer,
Mm-hmm.
It's different. It's like one of the guys used to say, hey, why'd you become a police officer? They ask him all the time. He's like, so I can drive fast and shoot guns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, don't we all? But there's a lot of people too, like me. Don't get me wrong. There's other perks to the job of, money, retirement,
Sure.
things like that come along with it. But the biggest thing is giving back to my community.
Mm-hmm.
I was a volunteer firefighter. I was a captain with the Chrisfield Fire Department for many, many years. And I love giving back to my departments, whether it's state or not. But I believed in policing, not in stopping traffic to give the state numbers.
Right.
And that was an area that was like, really, you should focus on those areas. Like, you should go write a ticket. All right. Well, I do. Even though I'm a ginger, I do have a heart. You know what I mean? I do have a heart. But hey, if you were doing 70 and a 55, 70 and a 55, 70 and a 55
Sure.
in my
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
I kept everything, the same, like try to keep everything the same to everybody.
Yeah.
Deliver it no matter what the situation was. Deliver it. I've, taken drugs off the street, guns off the street, money off the street, everything. And you feel good about yourself. But the one thing that you just never got, like, was numbers. They wanted those numbers. No matter how many of those arrests that you had, it didn't matter. It went off of, hey, man, you didn't stop this many cars this month. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I did my job. I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that the quotas are such a big deal, in your opinion? You know what I mean? Because here's the thing is, I don't think that concept is coming from out of thin air.
Right.
Like, I think that there is and before you answer, I'm going to answer from what I think. I think that there is a concept or an ideology behind it, right? What I think more likely is probably somebody that pushes a pencil, has never been in the field, probably says, hey, if we look at these analytics, by the numbers, if we lock more people up, or if we stop more people, we can get more arrests, right?
Right.
But you would know better than I would. And that's just me playing devil's advocate, thinking like from a business perspective, right? The more handshakes you make, the more money you make, right? So the more cars we stop, the more, potential arrests we get. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, everything comes down to a statistics.
Yeah.
It's like every class that you went through, whether it's like drug interdiction classes, just even traffic classes. In the academy, they tell you they have statistics on it. Out of every 10 cars that you stop, there could be something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Warrants, drugs, guns, money, whatever have you. Body. Yeah, dead body. Yeah, dead body. Yeah. I mean,
like,
how
not
about
to make
it?
light of that, but yeah.
Absolutely. Like, there's.
Did you see that fucking? Oh my gosh, it was the worst video I've ever seen in my life, dude. It was, and this is just me. There was a woman in Baltimore, somewhere over that way, got stopped. This was like 2 years ago, and she had she was living in her car. Her car was stuffed to the backs, and there was a foul odor coming from the car. And come to find out, it was two kids. It was two. They were like 5 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically had, when they interrogated her, she'd basically had told that she needed to take care of her sister's kids, and I guess and she was a prostitute and drug addict. And I guess what happened was the first child, the poor little baby, man, it brought me to tears, man. It brought the officers on the scene. I mean, they were like hyperventilating, a couple of them. I mean, these are Baltimore cops. They've seen a lot.
Right.
And I mean, they were like, they couldn't get their shit together. And I mean, the way that she had them wrapped up, I mean, it was so awful, man. But, and I think they gave her like 50 years of life or something, rightfully so. I mean, really, she should have died, but that's my opinion. But I mean, basically she said that one of them, she had, she beat him too hard and he just stopped moving. So instead of doing the right thing, and then the other one said that she was playing around, or vice versa. I could get it mixed up. You might have to fact check me, but she had cut herself on her leg, and I guess she severed an artery. Instead of getting her the help or whatever, she died. And then she'd been riding around with these kids for months, John, months.
Yep.
And I was just like, dude, I mean, it went viral. I mean, I just could not fucking believe that, man.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable. And they could smell the car. They were like, there's something wrong with this car. Like, so she go deep into these suitcases. It was the most awful, I'm sorry to talk about this on the air, but it was just such an awful, awful story, man, to hear. But that's what I guess you're looking at, 1 in every 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
That,
you look at 1 in every 10, there's, I mean, they showed you videos of, police finding bodies in cars, whatever have you. I work Prince George's County, so I worked at Forestville Barracks starting out. So you have inside of state police, so you have traffic barracks that are solely traffic only. Mm-hmm. And then you have full service barracks. So a full service barrack is traffic and calls for service. So like calls for service are like domestics, assaults. When you're up in Prince George's County, you're a traffic barrack. County police, sheriff's department, they're going to handle your assaults, your things like that. Unless it happens, on the highway.
Right.
And they do happen on the highway. Like people will get you will get into an argument. Somebody will punch somebody in the face and they'll, run 4 lanes over and, wreck their car with drugs in the car. It seems smart, right? You know what I mean? Every like person that you arrest, you're like, hey man, if I was traveling this amount of any amount of drugs, even like having a blunt in the car or whatever, a bag of coke, I would be driving the speed limit.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the arrogance.
I would be driving.
I used to freaking allegedly smoke everywhere I went. I'd smoke, a blunt, and it didn't matter what was in the car. And it was the arrogance. It was the fact that you sat there and you got away with it for so long, and you know the routes, you know the things, you think you know something. Now I'm like so blown away because I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. I'm like, bro, like I smell it driving on the highway.
Oh.
And I would, and look, and we'd argue with the cops, like, how do you smell it? My windows were up. Like, dude, it goes in the air and out the air. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm driving, I smell it everywhere. And I'm just like, this is not,
stoplights.
What was I doing, you know? But, times have changed and things have changed. And I think the state of law enforcement has definitely has its challenges and still a lot of challenges to overcome.
Yeah.
So you shifted out of that and so forth. Did you have a background in electricity?
I did.
Did you?
I did. Yeah. My father started me out early, and I was 16. Probably before that. I think, I was young. My family, my dad was the type to have you working, 10, 12 years old. Like you're going to learn something in life. And I can remember, he still jokes to this day. And I can still remember the house where it's at that we were working on, and he was wiring it, and I rolled out like I was tired, so I went and fell asleep in the truck. And he comes out and he's like, "John, I've been calling for you. Where you been at?" I'm like, "How much money have I made today, Dad? Have I made enough to pay my cell phone bill?" So I was probably 16 at the time,
Knew it all.
Yeah. And I had the old Nokia, playing Snake probably, something like that. My cell phone bill, like text messages, them were like 5 cents a piece.
You only got to talk and text at nighttime after 9.
After 9.
It was free.
Bro, after 9. These kids nowadays don't know.
No, dude.
They don't know.
No, our Gimp in the box over there is laughing because he don't realize that. Yeah, we used to have to wait till 9 o'clock before we could talk and text for free.
That's right.
Oh, that you burning the minutes up.
Yeah, you had to burn them up, and then
that's hilarious.
I would have like 6,000 text messages. So I had, a cell phone bill, and my dad was like, "Yeah, I guess you made like $40-$50. Like, I'll pay you that." And I'm like, "Cool, pay me that. Get me out of here." Yeah. I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. And I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
But it ain't that.
And it's not bad. Like, I tried it, and I went to VOTEC, so technical school. So I went into the trades. I took heating and air. That was my trade that I went into. I was straight out of high school. So I got a job with the heating and air company, had my own van doing installs.
Because I want to go on record, you guys do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just residential electric. It's also
electrical and heating and air.
Yeah. You're yelling at me about our studio.
That's right, man. It's like an ice box in here. I don't even know why they have refrigerators all over this place. But so we do heating and air as well. So that was my forte back in the day that I wanted to do, and I just realized I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this the rest of my life, crawling underneath houses. Like, my knees were tearing me up, and I'm 18 years old. So I did get a job somewhere else working for a local school board as a maintenance technician. Back then, times were different. You didn't make this, what is it now? What's minimum wage now? $15 an hour.
I don't know. I thought it was 18.
Yeah.
But it's somewhere up there.
20. I mean, $19,500 a year.
Yeah.
Starting now.
Proud of it.
Yeah.
Proud of it.
And I had a house and a vehicle.
$30,000 was like,
yes.
$30,000 back then, I'd say 20 years ago, was like making 75, 80 now. Yep. Like you were doing if you made 30 grand.
Yeah.
40 grand, you were like freaking.
Man, you were up there.
MC Hammer.
You were high class.
Yeah. What made you say, was it, because clearly you had to make a decision, right? When you were when you was a trooper. So, what made you say that you were going to go back to electricity, especially considering your history with it, how you grew up, and ultimately, I mean, honestly, like being a police officer, I mean, you've got a lot of, you got to set pay, you got to set pay, set retirement, you got perks of retiring early or being on the force for a certain amount of time. So the state and benefits are pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of great things that it offers. What was the decision maker to say, hey, I'm going to go into electricity? Did you see the success that you could acquire and what the businesses in the game needed, or were you just going out on a limb trying to say, hey, I got to just figure it out?
There you go.
Yeah.
You just got to figure it out. Like that was always my thing, was to make that jump. Now that was a plan B for retirement, because obviously I went into, I went into the state system in 2005. So that was the year I graduated high school. Like November, like later on that year was when I got a job with the county. So it was a state retirement. So I actually got, time from that. Then when I got hired as a police officer, I got that time back. So I added to my time.
Sure.
So I was halfway there, and I thought about it. I'm like, man, I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
Do I want to go this other half? I didn't want to go the other half. In my mind, mentally and physically, I didn't want to go because I had no dreams of saying, hey, I want to get promoted. I had no drive in that department anymore. Like I more or less felt ashamed of myself, and like I had done something to them to say, hey, I just can't.
And I mean, not to reveal too many details, but I mean, you were like in some pretty hairy situations.
Yeah.
While you were a trooper. I mean, you were fighting crime.
Yeah,
you weren't just stopping people. I mean, you were going. Some of the stories you told me, and that's up to you if you want to share them. But you were fighting crime. Like you were fighting the bad guys.
When it went down, like Prince George's County is a rough county anyway. There you're used to it. The fast pace, but when you come back to like the Eastern Shore, now I worked in Somerset County for 2010, 2017, I was there. So roughly 7 years, ballpark of that, with some time off. So being there for that amount of time, when it went down in the wintertime, mainly because your calls are way less in Somerset County. But when, the group that I work with, I knew everybody on the south end, and the other guy on my group knew everybody in the north end. The other guy that worked with us, he just didn't know anybody. He just went off of us, and he was like, military guy ready to go. He was always ready to go.
Yeah.
And those times were different too, because, those guys had you no matter what. Like they were going to war for you. And but when it went down in Somerset County, it went down. Like
when an incident.
Man, it would go down. Like it's not like, hey, I did this or I beat my wife or nothing like that. They come out guns blazing.
Yeah.
Some people wouldn't want to go to rehab. They'd start, throwing up barricading people, barricading themselves in houses, wanting to pick off cops, saying they're going to, it becomes that in Somerset. Now people don't want to realize it and believe it, but those are the things that go on. Or somebody meets you to the front door with a shotgun. You're in Somerset County, they're going to have a gun. Most of those homeowners have a gun. Even the people that are not have a gun are going to have a gun.
Yeah. And believe that they should have it by their side.
And absolutely. And believe that their property is their property.
Yeah. So well, it makes sense of why you want to switch gears. But you're doing pretty well for yourself now. We're talking about 8 years later. You have I know a lot of the ins and outs and strategic moves you made, but to just, and I know you're a humble guy, and I know you're modest, and we don't have to go into the details, but I mean, you've got, how many trucks you've got running now?
4 right now.
4 trucks running now. You got, does that include vans and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. You've got I'm assuming still a warehouse full of supplies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Shops, all that.
Yeah.
Like you're doing well. What was, other than the hard work and putting in the hours, what were some of the moves that you made to, be able to put yourself into a position where, I mean, you're talking about how much work you have with the builders and things like that. I mean, that not just everybody gets those, you know what I mean? And I think that even you talked about there was some laws that, or some regulations that shifted on how electricians could be on the job. So, we're talking to the entrepreneur, man, who's, in the trenches, man. He's in the trenches trying to get out. She's trying to get out. She's trying to, hit that next level. But, thinks that just continuing to put in those long hours is just one day going to miraculously pay off. And it's not the case.
No.
You're going to make some money, but you're never going to have a chance to enjoy it. And you're probably, sacrificing your health along the way, or relationships, and if you're not like us in the gym, you know what I mean, clean living, things like that, you're probably diminishing your health even further.
Right.
So what do you say, what was it that helped you? I mean, obviously hard work, determination, all that, but there had to have been something that you can give some golden nuggets for somebody to help them get that to that next level.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta outsource. You got to outsource all your stuff and figure out, all your workings, figure out what's going on. Where can you better yourself at? I used to sit down and handwrite, and I'm talking like old school notepad, handwrite every single number from like every receipt. So even something like that simple, because I just didn't have a clue. I had a clue that, hey, QuickBooks is out here, but I don't know how to use it.
Right.
And I'm not going to learn how to use it because I'm too old. I'm 38.
Yeah.
I'm not too old.
No,
you know what I mean?
not at all.
But I just had that thinking, like, like my parents
You're
were
a
like,
fucking millennial.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. You know what I mean? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. That is not the case. Like, I've learned so many things business wise, and, from you, from the other guys that we meet with, just talking and learning and being in the right, surround yourself with the right people is what always, I've heard people say it. Hey, look, if you want to fly with the eagles, you're not going to lay with the chickens.
Right. 100%.
You got to fly with the eagles.
Yeah. We got together, for those that don't know, we got together and still do when we can make it. We've been very inconsistent here as of the past couple of years, but it's also a tribute to the success and the lack of discipline for us to say, hey, maybe we just make this meeting. But man, you and I were getting together about 7 years ago.
Right.
I think my FBI agent's going off. I tell you, this AI thing will just let me know. But yeah, it was about 7 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. And, we were just meeting on, I think it was Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Yeah.
Yep. And we were just having breakfast and just sharing ideas. And I mean, we were getting a lot from it. I was getting a lot from business, getting a lot of ideas, and then it grew. We had a couple other guys that come on board, and we still do every other week, every other Wednesday. We meet in the morning and, just share what's going on in different industries and different type of stuff. And it's been a huge, but you're right, man. It's getting in those rooms and then, we're not, neither one of us are like trying to, I know I'm not, because I'm conscious of not being that way, because I have the tendency to be the conversation over the guy who runs the conversation. I hate that shit. I try to shut the fuck up as much as I can, but none of us are swinging dicks. None of us are trying to see who can pee the farthest. None of us are overpowering the conversation. We're just sharing things that are working, sharing things that aren't working, and taking that and are these other industries and applying them, man. And it seems like it's been working. But I agree with you, man. Getting in the right room and getting around the right people, is a must,
Yeah, there's some things like that we talk about, and I'm like, I walk out of, I leave out of there. I'm pumped up. Number one, like I'm through the roof. Like, I'm getting ready to tear this thing
every
up.
time, dude.
But I sit down in the van and I'm like, what were they talking? AI?
Yeah.
I've got to figure this thing out. Like, what's going on here now? My wife's up on the things, and I'm like, what is Chat GPT?
Yeah.
She's like, oh my goodness, you got to look at this.
Yeah.
I can write this, that, and this off of Chat GPT, and it does it for me. I'm like, are you serious?
Dude, and I didn't make this up. I got this from a room that I was in. I was in a room with at Apex with Ryan Stewman, and he talked about doing this. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. I literally have named my chatbot, my AI, my Chat GPT, Zoe, right? And literally, like, we'll have weekly check-ins. And the way I framed it is I was like, hey, Zoe, listen, I'm trying to deliver the most value, be the most successful, honest, ethical, person out here, business person out here. I don't know if I'm a coach. I don't know what I am. I'm just trying to be the most ethical person out here. I'm not an influencer, that's for sure. And you're trying to be the best chatbot you can be. So let's meet up weekly and help each other get to the common goals that we need to get to. And literally every week, we meet up. And now she's learned me so much, where she knows what I'm looking for. She knows what I'm liking too. Sometimes she's a little biased, so I got to continue to probe a little bit. But I'll also I'll go on walks or something, or I'll just ride. And I'll just be like, hey, Zoe, teach what's going on in the news. Teach me something I don't know. Teach me this, teach me that. You know what I mean? And I'm just listening and talking back and forward in my earbuds.
Wow.
And it's a full-blown conversation. But you can listen to a podcast, right? You can read books. You can listen to an audiobook. What better way to get smarter and get more intelligent than talking to your AI bot? You know what I mean? As if she's your employee. I mean, she costs me $20 a month, $40 a month. I was like, this is great. But I've sat there in the same way. It sat into the to the car. I'm like, oh man, I'm so behind. You know what I mean? Like
you could throw a book at me, and I'm gonna be like, oh man, my nerves get bad inside of a book. But you let me throw my earbud in, and listen to something or talk to somebody and have a good fruitful conversation. Yeah, it goes so much further.
Are you the kind of guy that's in church and feel like the pastor's talking to you that day? Do you
oh man, they've been talking to me for 2 weeks.
And dude, look, my wife's nowhere near the same way as I am. But dude, if I hear that one message, it's the right combinations of the right words unlock that thing in my brain. And I change from that day on. I'm like, I'm going to do this from now on. And you can't tell me differently. And sometimes it gets me in trouble because I get so, I'm an emotional decision maker. You know what I mean?
On Saturday, I went over to Oak Ridge Church. Saturday morning, they have a Kingdom men's prayer breakfast over there. It's about an hour. So you have breakfast together, they teach, and then you pray. So you'll talk amongst yourselves. You're at a round table with 4 or 5 guys. Mm-hmm. And the thing that they were playing on the video that day that they were preaching on was physical fitness. And what the Bible says about physical fitness and how you're supposed to treat your body like a temple. Yeah,
everybody was lean back then.
Let's go. I think in my mind, and if the way that my body looks at 38, I shouldn't look like this at 38. Because I've got people I graduated high school with, or I've seen that are my age, and they just don't look like me. They're just not taking care of themselves.
Or just the 40-year-old men when you were growing up.
Right.
They didn't,
No, my dad didn't look that way.
Correct.
He was a big man, but they didn't look that way.
Yep.
And just the level of what I've, the transformation that I've seen in the 7 years of, being with you and knowing, what physical fit is, and being married to my wife who's the fitness nut.
Yeah.
Now our grocery bill says, hey, look, we're physically fit, by the way. I don't think it should, I think good groceries, good fit stuff should be cheaper than Doritos.
I agree, dude.
But hey,
I agree.
That's another subject for another time. But so anyway, I do things. Obviously, I put trash into my body.
Yeah.
And I don't treat my body like a temple. But then I was like, yes. I'm glued to the TV.
Yep.
I'm glued to the TV. I'm like, this dude is talking to me.
Yep.
And they did a boxing segment. That's what it was. It was a boxer from Britain that was doing this, telling what the Bible says. And I'm like, man, how does he know I like boxing, man? And he's talking about physical fitness, and I put some trash in my bodies over the year,
Yeah, it's critical, man. It's truly critical. We've been the fitness side. I mean, it gives you the edge. You know what I mean? It just gives you the edge mentally. It reminds you that you can do hard things. You know what I mean? It reminds you that your body is sacred, and that's it. How we've been going. I tell you, man, since the Charlie Kirk assassination, it kind of woke me up a little bit. In a way, it's done a lot of people across this country, as far as younger people opening the Bible and being open-minded to talk about God and things like that. So for me, I was like, I probably should get my faith a little bit more in order. My faith has been it's always been there, but sometimes it's not as front and center as like I need it to be.
Right.
So, we've been shopping churches. We lost Sean McCarthy, and
Right.
we're not shopping them. I just want to visit them. I want to see them all. Like,
Right.
I just want to check them out, see what they sound like, because I don't have the ones that I go to anymore, and I my old church I haven't went back yet. So, how important has faith been for your life, your business, all the above? I mean, where's that rank with?
It's a very, very hard job. Faith is important, more so with my family now, because my wife, her father's a preacher, her grandfather's a preacher, and they are, I do the sound and technology for Gumboro Wesleyan Church in Gumboro, Delaware. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got to be present most Sundays inside of church. But church is good on Sundays, but it don't happen just on Sundays.
Sure.
So my faith has to grow Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. My faith has to grow. And so many times I find myself down a slippery slope to where I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm preaching integrity, and integrity is, hey, you're doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
Yep.
That's your integrity. And I'm not doing it. Nowadays, like, I got the Bible app. I can dive deep into that. Faith plays a big role into it. I believe it sets your mindset in a correct way going forward. Because of, let's think of other things I don't have Facebook. I don't have social media. Mm-hmm. So if I jumped on social media, I guarantee you I had a conversation with my buddy on Saturday, went to the prayer breakfast with me. I said, man, when you open up your social media, what do you see? He's like, man, I see somebody talking about some trash. And I'm not trying to see that anymore. I said, yeah, but you stopped on it.
Yeah. I
said, my boy Branden told me that there's an algorithm, Facebook. If you stop, that's what you're going to see.
Yep.
It's a lot like your phone and your wife's like, hey, we need detergent. Well, guess what popped up on my Amazon the very first thing? Yo, here's your detergent.
Yeah, here's a deal for Tide.
Yeah, here's a deal for Tide. I'm like, it's crazy. Yeah. So you look at those things and you separate yourself. So my biggest thing is, like, I try to take the time for myself. Now, the past few months, I haven't taken that time.
Yeah.
And it showed.
Yeah.
It showed in my life overall, business overall. I haven't taken that time. My time of reflection normally is in the morning, where I take the time for myself. And, now I take the time for myself when mornings when I'm eating breakfast, like this morning me and my wife had breakfast together. So I took the time this morning because my wife was off work today. So I took the time this morning and got into my Bible app got my mind right straight out of the gate, because, I knew I was coming here.
Yeah.
Number one, and my nerves are going to be bad. And, so I was like, all right, I gotta get in the zone.
Yeah.
I gotta get in the zone.
And it showed, because, like, man, you just had this sense of, like, we're always like high energy, jokes, all that. And you just had this, like, Zen master type peaceful piece. Yeah, maybe you're playing a great job of poker right now.
I am.
But now, I mean, even downstairs when I saw you going to the bathroom, it was like, you could tell something was on, had played a part, Man, I would love to keep this conversation going, but we have been rocking and rolling, dude. So we're wrapping this up. A couple things, you know what I mean? So where does Residential Electric see itself in the next 5 to 10 years? You know what I mean? Are we, are we expanding? Are we growing? Are we, we staying simple? What are your thoughts on where you see your business and what you want from it?
I want to expand, and expand is staying in a controlled. By expanding, is staying in a controlled, like, capacity of employees, to where I can still keep, more or less, like, the hold on the type of work that we do.
Sure.
The style of the work that we do, so we can stay that, that notch above everybody else. And I want to pull away from the working force, because there's so many more things I want to do in life other than work physically.
Sure.
So I want to grow the business, have a few guys. I'm not looking to get rich. I just want to create something so that it can continue on and move on, and something for, if one day, if I have kids, my kids can take over, yada yada. Something that's there to say, hey, John Dize was here.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. Where can we find you? So, you know what I mean?
Find us on Facebook.
Okay.
Hey, we're on Facebook, Residential Electric Incorporated. Phone number is 410-829-2283.
Awesome. Well, brother, thank you for stopping by again, man. It was good to, I know we've talked a lot, but I think it was a good re-up on where you're at and what you've done and things. And dude, I'm just, you know, I'm grateful for our friendship, man.
Absolutely.
It's been a huge blessing in my life to have you in my corner. And I'm very proud of you, man. And you have a lot to be proud of because, you know, I've witnessed your transformation and, you know, especially when like you were first taking the classes and then when we started connecting and then, you know, as we were going through the thick of things and I expanded and all this stuff, man. And, you know, thank you for all the support that you've had all these years. And it's just, it's really cool to see you do your thing, man. So I appreciate you, man. I'm proud
appreciate you.
Yeah,
and the same goes to you, brother.
Appreciate it. Well, that's it, man. That'll wrap up this episode of Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. Again, guys, please like and subscribe to channels. Leave us a review. Share this with somebody you think you would get value from it. And until next time, what are you doing today to become a champion?